Hello, everybody. Johnny Gomes here, and we are back. It's time. S2 Cognition. Of course, I got my man Scott with me to break everything down. A lot going on in sports right now. Olympics are kicking off. The NFL's getting ready to kick off. Playoff baseball, all this stuff. Second half, everything's rocking and rolling right now. Great time to be a sports fan, and great time to break down some of these viral clips. All right, Scott, one of my favorite sports to watch during the Olympics, true story, it is volleyball. Men's U.S. volleyball, women's volleyball representing the United States. And watch some of these kills, watch some of these sets, watch the blocks. We got Avery Skinner doing her thing. In the women's U.S. team, we got the guys running wild on their side. Men's and women's volleyball for the U.S. You got to tune in.
Yeah, we dove into volleyball this last year. We worked with the San Diego Mojo, the new Pro Volleyball Federation, and we've done some college volleyball programs. A little shout out to Ole Miss and Coach Bree Henry. Unbelievable sport. I mean, you take some of the elements of basketball, elements of soccer, and you throw all this together. You're just barely getting to volleyball. You got hitters, you got timing here, you got trajectory. You take a little bit of all the sports and put it together, and then you've got volleyball. It's unbelievably fast.
Yeah,
I've never felt so short, and I'm 6'1", but hanging around volleyball players, they are giant human beings, incredibly athletic, and can, like you said, jump to the moon. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the reaction, and once you kind of dive into the sport too, you start to see the plays, you start to see the strategy. They're calling out plays, they're doing deeks, pretending they're going to set it and they spike it. And then the timing aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, jumping as high as you can, swinging your arm to hit the ball right where you want it. And then again, that guy has to set to that location. Like you mentioned, this is almost like all sports, just like thrown in a blender, and this popped up.
Yeah. When you talk about the timing, you've got a couple different elements of timing here, just to geek out for a second. There's that rhythmic timing. And so we've watched gymnasts, we've watched, synchronized divers, and they've got to be in sync, and there's a cadence and a tempo to their movements. When you get into position, it's all about getting in sync and timing your jump and the peak of your jump in sync with what other players are doing. So there's an incredible orchestra of movement that happens. And then what we call interceptive or coincident timing. That is, when do I decide to act to intercept a ball? That's both when you're blocking, when you're striking, when you're spiking the ball. That timing to optimize when do I swing to produce max velocity, max angle. Two different kinds of timing systems in the brain that are in operation here. And it's really cool. Get out of sync with your rhythm, that's going to affect your timing. You jump too soon, the setter gets there too late. You can see that throws your timing to strike the ball, off a little bit. But timing is so critical on both sides of the net here.
I would love to see like top-notch NBA basketball players who get, they jump, they're jumpers. To watch them do this, I don't think they could at all, right? You get some of the best dunkers, and I don't think, sure, they're jumping just as high, but again, the timing in that arm swing is something way different than just dunking a basketball.
You know what? It's right. You may get some, like, it'd be interesting to know like a Dennis Rodman, who was just a master at timing his jumps and his leaps to get rebounds and could see the angles quickly. If you're one of those rebounders who just always times up the bounce perfectly, maybe you'd fare better than just someone who can go up and do an incredible dunk and just can jump high. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Shout out to volleyball. I love it. And good luck to the U.S., of course. All right, Scott, another sport for us to break down. Might not be the most common, but a lot of action. Badminton, the reaction, the sweet spot of the racket. And I tell you what, we have a sneaky behind the back flip over the net, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in essence, it's an extension of the arm, right? And so you have to learn how to manipulate that device in space. Hitters do the same thing, right? I mean, you're doing the same thing. You just have both hands on the bat, and here's one hand, and so you get a little bit more latitude here to move the racket around your back and up and down. So it's a little different than holding something with two hands, but again, the cognitive demands are very similar to hitters. It's what we'd call a spatial temporal problem. You got to intercept something in space and predict where it's going to end up in space, and you've got to have incredible timing to be able to get your racket to the sweet spot to intercept it. And so space and time, that's what this is all about. And tennis players all have this incredible ability to judge, see things fast, their angle, their trajectory, and then get their body and arms and the racket or the bat to a point in space at the right time. Unbelievable. You're off by a few tens of milliseconds, you're missing it or you're mishitting it. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that shuttlecock is just absolutely flying, back and forth. And I mean, they're sneaking in some behind the backs too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, how they obviously don't have that plan, right? Just how quick of a decision they have to make for that to happen.
The ability to improvise. We haven't talked about this here, but it's like in tennis. You start to lean one way. You're watching the body cues of your opponent, and they tell you, hey, they're going to go to your left, and then they end up cross hitting it to the right. And you've got to improvise, override what you were about to do, where you were leaning, and redirect. Unbelievable ability to switch tracks, to change directions cognitively. You got to be able to do it physically, but it starts with the brain recognizing, that badminton is coming a different angle, a different direction.
Yeah, it's coming at you hot. Badminton. We're gonna have to check the schedule and see when these matches are on TV. I want to lock into some of these. All right, Scott, I don't know if you got the NFL fever going on right now, but training camp is rocking and rolling. Time to strap your helmet on and get going for the NFL season. Now, how about some trick catches? I didn't quite know this was an option, but I tell you what, with social media where it is right now, everyone's got a phone, and these are some crazy catches. I don't know if we'll see these in the NFL, but I tell you what, they're fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it is the power of deception. I mean, this is getting your opponent to react to your body movement, your initial reach. I mean, a DB is going to look for where you're reaching, and the timing of your movement to try to make a play on the ball. And look at this. He goes up to his right. The DB responds by thinking the ball is going to the right, and he twists around and catches it to the left of the DB. This is the art of deception taken to the max here.
Yeah, I'm sure some of those safeties wouldn't be too thrilled to pull one of these trick plays off with them. I'm sure they'd try and put a helmet right in your chest if they pulled one of these off. But they are fun to watch, and they don't look easy to do by any means. Cheers to those guys. Kudos to those guys that kind of found a little niche to get famous, and these are fun clips to watch.
Oh, it's great. I mean, there's a little bit of overlap with what we saw with the not quite as fast, but what we saw with the badminton.
Yeah.
I mean, he sees where the ball's coming. He's got to time his movement. It's a little bit of Simone. We did a gymnastics twirl here with the timing. He can't see the ball. He's assuming where it is. Space, time, pretty incredible. Fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing some cutting here. I can't imagine they're landing these the first time, each time out. But either way, man, this is these guys are extremely athletic. Really cool.
Yeah, it's an extreme form of dude perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Really cool time right now to be a sports fan, Scott. Thank you for your knowledge. Some great stuff, some exciting clips. Again, some of these times you just take a step back and go like, wow, we have some absolutely elite athletes on this planet. Thank you for teaching us how they tick. Really cool stuff, really cool breakdowns. Thanks again. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe. We got plenty more coming.